Well, hello. This is Rosa RCG Creations. How are you doing? Okay, good. You can see pretty much everything. Yes. We're making today cheesy stuffed meatballs. Meatball bites. Okay. Got my ground beef. It's about 1 pound ground beef. We're going to mix everything together. Oh, I forgot my cheese. Sorry, let me just grab my cheese. We're going to be trying a good, sweet, let me get the name of it, something new. I got this at my Azure haul, a big old long tube. It's smoked cheddar cheese. We put some of this on our pizzas for dinner last night. It was so good and it melted so nicely. Hardly any oil after you melted it. So we think this is going to be a good cheese for these burgers. Now, we're not going to be cooking the burgers today, but I'm going to prep and get everything ready for later on in the week when we want to eat burgers. They're already going to be pressed and ready, so I got to just take them out of the freezer, let them thaw out, and then cook them. That's it. Then we get to eat them. So, okay, I've got me 1 egg. Where's my fork? I had a fork. Oh, it's right here. Oh, let me move you over just a tad. And guess what? I'm no apron. I'm thinking I can do this pretty well without just spillage. At least that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to scramble my egg just so it's scrambled as much as possible. And now I'm going to pour all the ingredients, because all you do is put everything together, mix it all up. And I'm using my hands. Make sure wash hands, clean table, because I'm going to be using my little hamburger press. And then I'm going to be using my little parchment sheets to put in between each layer. And then it's going to go into my Ziploc freezer bags right over there. Okay, so we're going to start off with the ground beef. 1½ cup of breadcrumbs. You know, I'm going to do my breadcrumbs last because I want them to stay crunchy for a little while. 1/4 cup of milk. This is the time that I like to use my canned milk. This is the shelf-stable milk. You can pretty much find it at the dollar stores and all the grocery stores. I know Walmart sells it. But I like this because this way it stays on your shelf, and then once you open it, then you keep it in the fridge. But it's got a long shelf life. And you could save your fresh milk for drinking, because this is going to be good for cooking. So 1/4 cup of milk. My OCD kicks in. I always have to smell milk. Oh, I spilled. Well, already the second ingredient, and I didn't make my goal of no spillage. Did you hear, hubby? 1 day without spilling. One day I will have a video with no spillage. But if not today. But it was just a little bit of dribble milk, so that wasn't too bad. Okay, so the milk is done. Next thing we need to add 1 large egg. Let's get all that egg in there. Next thing is 1 finely chopped onion. And I get 1 or 2 onions, and I chop the whole thing as much as I can. And I did extremely diced, chopped mini onions. They're very, very well chopped. Let me just use my fork, because there's already egg in here, so it's not going to matter, because I'm going to use this whole thing. This is about equivalent to 1 egg, 1 whole onion. And what's nice, don't forget, the onion will cook down as it's baking. And you can either bake the hamburgers, or you can just cook them on your stovetop on a skillet. It's totally up to you how you want to do it. Or do them on the grill. We don't have a working grill, so we can't grill. We've got 2 grills, but they both don't work. Need to get parts for them. And I don't know if you're like us, but getting parts is kind of scarce, and they're pretty pricey. And it's almost like going to be cheaper just to go buy a brand new grill. Okay, so that's done. That's a little stockpile of dirty dishes. Next thing is we add 2 cloves of minced garlic. And I make my minced garlic. I mince it all up. Then I flash freeze it and I put it in little pucks. Then I put them on a cookie sheet on a piece of parchment. Freeze them for 2 hours. Then I take them out and put the whole thing in a little baggie. And I put labels. Some of these I label more than others. Like this one is 4 tablespoons of garlic. So this one asks for 2 cloves, which is about half of this. I don't want to cross-contaminate my fork because I'm going to close this back up for whatever I don't use. So let me just portion about half of this, and then this is what I'll be using. Garlic really enhances the flavor, and especially when you're baking with it, it really brings out the flavor. I think that's pretty close to half of this bag. I'll just grab a little bit more here. Okay, so this will go back in my freezer. So I've done, but I've already used my other ones. I have one that's got 1 tablespoon, one that says 2 tablespoons, 3, then 4, and I'm down to my 4. Okay, that just makes my life easier if I do it that way. Yeah, it takes about, on the average, about 2 hours to chop everything up. And then individually, I actually get my measuring spoon and I measure them out in each little baggie. First I write on the label. Always, FYI, when you're writing on baggies, if it's something that's cold, write on the baggie first. Because if you write on it afterwards, the coldness of the food inside the baggie won't let the Sharpie work very well. Okay, so garlic, 1 teaspoon of salt. I thought for sure I had my salt here. Okay, I guess I didn't. Let me get my teaspoon of salt. I'm bringing my pepper just in case it asks for pepper. But I was pretty sure I thought I had brought all my ingredients. And sorry for the reach there. I know I'm in the camera view, but I had to move stuff out of the way. Okay, as for 1 teaspoon of salt. 1 teaspoon. I don't want to use that much salt because this is going to ask for Worcestershire sauce, and I know there's salt in Worcestershire sauce. Okay, so it was pretty close to 1 teaspoon, but not the whole thing. 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper. We're going to do 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper. 1/2 teaspoon. And this one I will do the whole 1/2. Okay. Next to that is 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Oops. If you do a lot of cooking, get the great big bottles of Worcestershire sauce. Get these little squeeze bottles. Not these particular ones I got from Temu, but you can get them at the regular grocery store. Any squeeze bottle. Just get a regular label. Label it. And they pour. Oh, I don't know if I made a hole in that one. I think I did, but let me double check it. 1 teaspoon. 1/2. 1 teaspoon. Okay, yeah, this one already had a hole. Some of these come where you have to snip it with your scissors to make the hole. And some already come with the hole. It just depends on what kind you buy. But this is great. And for me, because I've got the doorways have such a narrow space, this is enough. And I label them all, so all my condiments, like here's my Worcestershire sauce, here's my ketchup, and here's my mustard. I didn't label this because it's yellow. Yep, mustard, yeah. And then what I do is I get those number 10 cans at the Sam's or any grocery store that has the number 10 cans, and then I put them in my jars. I use pint because it's just being heavy, but you could definitely do it in quarts or do it in the smaller the half pints or the pints. And then I pressure can these, and I'll put a link on that video because I've done a video on it. So I get and I pressure can my mustard and my ketchup out of those number 10 cans. So I'm done for 2 years of not having to worry about buying ketchup and mustard. That's another way to recycle and use last year's prices for this year's cooking. It helps stretch your grocery budget. Okay, okay, so I got the Worcestershire sauce. Now we do 1/2 cup of ketchup. 1/2 cup of ketchup. I just went ahead and opened it, still using the squeeze bottle because this is 1/2 cup. And I got my other jar of ketchup. I'm down to 2 jars, and I'm on my last jar of mustard. So we need to go to the store and go buy some more ketchup, number 10 cans. But typically like to buy 3 or 4. That way I make one entire batch. So we're totally done. But of course, you do you. Stick within your budget. And do what's best for you. Okay, I know there's enough in here. And I almost got myself a splatter of ketchup there. Okay, there we go. It's coming out now. Had a little gulp. Probably had an air bubble in it. Okay. I think that's close enough. Now, just FYI, this is totally up to you, but what I like to do is when this one's totally empty, I rinse this off and I wash it. Sometimes I'm able to save my label, sometimes I'm not. I just get another label. And that way, you always want to rewash the whole bottle, the top and the bottom, before you refill it again. Okay? This is just FYI. Because, stuff does turn. Things get old. And you want to make sure it's all done right. Okay, so there's my ketchup. Okay, next thing, I had a little bit of spillage there. Spillage number 2. Okay, ketchup, 1 tablespoon of mustard. Let me get my tablespoon out. I'm going to use my leftover for when I just filled this jar up. It was practically totally gone. Okay, to me that's close enough. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm good to go with that. That's one good thing about when you're making stuff for yourself. You could add or subtract however you want to do it. Whatever is on your taste buds. Okay, mustard. 1/2 cup grated cheddar cheese. I have a 1/2 cup. Grated cheddar cheese. Oh, my little container cracked. I got these from Temu, and 3 of them were damaged when I first got it, so I got a credit. And when you get a credit, it's not always, you get to keep the product, and they give you the credit. So this one, after I get this done, this container is going to go in the garbage. I see a crack right here. Right there, and then that'll dry out my cheese. I don't want to do that. And I'll get another container. These were 88 cents for 12 of them. 12 this size with lids. For that kind of price, I'm good to go. I'm not going to worry about that. But I did get my store credit. So that worked out. Okay. So there's that. I'm saving this for closer toward the end. Okay. Because you put the cheese in after you mixed everything up. Okay, 1/4 cup of parsley, which I'm not going to use. And that's just mostly for garnish. Okay, so now we get to mix it. I'm going to get all my dirty dishes out of the way. Give myself some room. You could use a spoon. Me, I'm just going to go in there and get all nice and dirty. Mix everything totally up so that way it incorporates with your meat, your milk, your eggs, all the ingredients that you did. Oh, I should have poured my breadcrumbs before I got my hands dirty. It asks for 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. which is this equivalent of the cheese. So I'll just have to get my cup, and I'll just get half of that. And this is where you really want to get in. You want to get mixed to make sure everything all the way to the bottom of the center of the bowl gets mixed up. And we are going to add a secret ingredient that's not on the recipe, but hubby and I wanted to try it. Now, all these ingredients that I'm using right here, I've used them many, many, many times in burgers before. But I've never made a burger with the cheese in the center. Hubby loves cheese on his hamburger. I can sometimes take it, sometimes I don't want cheese, sometimes I do. So to me, it doesn't matter one way or the other, but hubby prefers cheese on every burger he has.
It's good.
What'd you say, honey?
It's good.
Did you hear him? He said it's good.
It's good for you, but it's good.
Not good for you, and we're definitely not good on our weight program. It's not bad on our weight program, but we got to do it within reason. And if we're good, we'll eat these burgers with no bun. But that probably isn't going to happen. Okay, that looks pretty darn well mixed up to me. I don't see any speckles of pepper or anything else there. So I think we are done on that aspect of it. So let me get my breadcrumbs. This is why I should have done this first. Let me get that out of the way. I'm not for sure what's dirty, but I'm just going to wash everything. Okay. We're going to do half of the breadcrumbs, half a cup. Okay, that's close enough to half a cup, I think. I think that's pretty close. Okay, now let's just, I'm gently going to fold the breadcrumbs into the entire mix. That's going to, breadcrumbs are going to help keep the patties together. I'm not going to overly mix this, but I do really want to go from the center down and make sure that all the breadcrumbs are incorporated with all the mixture. Which, this smells really good. I wish we had smell-o-vision. Here's our secret ingredient. This is Kinder's Cherry Cola seasoning. Now this has some salt in it. The Worcestershire has some salt in it, which is why I did not use the full force of salt. Oh, I don't know, why am I doing this? It's got a sprinkle level on there. So double check your ingredients when you buy store-bought products, seasonings and stuff. See what they're into. Oh, man, does this smell so good. Hubby said use a little bit extra so we can definitely taste the seasoning in it. Well, I think this has got some heart spot in it. Yep, there's a big chunk of heart. And since I've never used this before, I want a lot, but I don't want a whole lot. Let me get that spoon part. And let's see if it'll sprinkle out better. Okay, I see what it is. There's a big chunk of... And if I had two hands clean, I could do something, but I can't, so I gotta work with one hand. Okay, let's see, will that work? I don't want to spill too much and then have a big old glob where I have too much. Okay, so yeah, it got hard on us. This humid Texas heat. This is summer. Today was 100 degrees. It was hot today. Okay, I just went in there with my finger and broke it up a little bit. Okay. Man, that cherry cola. It's cherry cola with brown sugar and cherry. Man, you could definitely taste that. I mean, you could smell it, not taste it. I'm sorry, but I'm not tasting raw meat. I know you could have, but there's that one dish that's made with raw ground beef. I'm sorry, no. Not taking the risk. But boy, God, that smells so good. That smells really good. Hubby, you want to come smell this?
No, I'm good.
He said he's good. He don't want to get up from his recliner. He's watching TV. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle this on the burger as they're cooking. So I think this is pretty much pretty darn well incorporated. Now what you do is I'm going to, because my table is clean, I'm going to move this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Let me, because we're pretty much done with the recipe now. Let's move this over here so you can see. Let me get my press. You're going to put a little bit of mixture in the bottom. Let me flatten this out. Okay. Now this is pretty moist, okay? There's a lot of liquid in it. Now you're going to take the whole thing, put it in your hand. I'm going to spread this out just a little bit. Get a little piece that dropped. You're going to sprinkle your cheese right in the center. Then you're going to fold it over and make it like a little sandwich. So the cheese, you know what, I need to put this on my little parchment right there. And then I'm going to seal the edges so there's no opening, and as it's cooking, the cheese is going to melt. But I will tell you, this is a pretty moist meat. Okay, see that? See how moist that is? But I've sealed it all up. I'm pinching all the way around so there's no exposure to cheese. I'm going to use one of my little parchment papers. And I'm going to put it right there on that piece of parchment. I'm going to get another piece of parchment, put it right on top, and that's one burger. Now I'm going to repeat the same steps. And actually, I'm not going to use this hamburger press because I don't really need it because I am pressing the meat. And I'm just going to use my hand, my size of my hand, as a measurement of how much and how big of the patties I want. Because I know I've got to be able to fold it over to cover up the cheese. But I don't want it too thin either. Unless you want really a thin burger. That's up to you. Okay, so I'm trying to stay within the measurement of my hand. Get myself some cheese. Putting it on one edge. God, this smells really good. That smoked cheese. But this mixture is very wet, so it's a little hard to maneuver because this mixture is really wet. But it's gonna make for a juicy burger. Okay. Now let me just shape it more like a round burger. And I definitely want it to fit into my Live Tall parchment sheets. So I'm going to grab another one. Light it in there. Piece of meat that fell, just going to put it together. And I'm just going to mold it till it stays together. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay these on a cookie sheet, on a parchment lined cookie sheet. Then I'm going to flash freeze them. Okay, and then, whoop, my little thing fell. And then, that's when I'm going to put them in the baggies. So, let me continue making these. I'm going to wash my hands right quick, turn off my video, and I'll bring you back to that phase. Okay, we are totally done. These are going to go into the freezer. I was able to make 6 of them, and they're a good sized portion. As you can see the thickness of them. See that? And of course, you know, when you're baking them, you can always squish them down a little bit just before they get totally cooked on one side. If you want to make them thinner, or if you like them thick, however you want to do it. But woo! Parchment slick. There we go. Alrighty. Let's go put this in the freezer. We'll be back. Well, actually, we won't be back because all I gotta do now is put these in the freezer for 2 hours. They're gonna flash freeze. Then I'm just gonna put them in my Ziploc baggies, and they're gonna be labeled. This recipe is called Cheesy Stuffed Hamburger Bites. There we go. We thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.